Hello and welcome back to the start of a new trading week. And what a better way to start than by looking at the eurozone. Well, joining me on video link is Director of Studies at the Graduate School of Social Sciences in Paris, Jacques Sapir. Jacques, thank you for joining me via video link today.
Hello.
There was a nice headline at the end of last week in The Economist, which said that, and I quote, the recovery may be warming, but inflation may be cooling. Is that what the future holds for the Eurozone, do you think?
Well, certainly for the inflation. Actually, we are witnessing a decrease in the rate of inflation, and already some countries like Spain and Italy are now bordering the zero inflation or even under zero, that is, they are in deflation. But about the warming, I will be much more prudent, much more cautious. I think that if we have some signals that the situation could be good in northern countries like Germany, Netherlands, and countries like that, the situation is still very, very difficult in France, in Italy, and even in Spain, where there have been last year some signals of a partial recovery, a very partial recovery, but still. Since the beginning of this year, the economic data have been much worse, and now there is no more signals of recovery.
Jacques, I keep hearing the phrase when it comes to discussing the Eurozone, it's an accident waiting to happen. Do you think now with the recovery we're starting to see along the continent that this phrase still applies, do you think?
Oh, yes. Unfortunately, yes. I think that even if we are seeing some recoveries, very partials in Portugal and in Spain, I don't think it's really the situation. I think that the Eurozone is still an accident waiting to happen. And I think that it's a very mechanism of the Eurozone, which is actually the true culprit of this situation.
Okay, so you're definitely on the side of those who feel that it's an accident waiting to happen. You briefly mentioned the periphery, some of southern Europe then, because countries like Spain and Portugal and the sort of the PIGS countries, they've seen their 10-year bonds, government bonds moving lower of late. Will this put a spring in Angela Merkel's step, do you think?
Well, it's absolutely true that rates on sovereign bonds have been decreasing, not just on Portugal and Spain, but on Italy and even on Greece. But that's mostly the result of the very aggressive actions made by Mr. Mario Draghi, the chairman of the European Central Bank. And it is not reflecting the actual situation of these countries. So, to some extent, I think that the European Central Bank could help to lower the rates of the bond, but that could be very, that could be a real trap for investors, because this is giving birth to a false feeling of safety, and actually the economic situation is still very, very problematic, either in Portugal, in Spain, and above all in Greece.
Indeed. Just finally, Jacques, do you think that this recovery is all a little bit too late and that perhaps deflation could finish the block off?
Well, this is what I am afraid of. If we are entering into a deflation, and already we are in deflation in Spain and Portugal, we could be in Italy and even in France, the data are all pointing to a very, very low inflation, and we could be at the very border of a deflation. If the deflation is to happen in the eurozone, that will certainly finish the bloc off.
Jacques, thank you very much for joining me today. It's a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you.
That's all we've got time for at the moment on Dukascopy TV. Stay with us though, it's only early hours and we'll have more interviews and updates for you throughout the day. But for now, bye-bye.